Like, why? I don't need someone to tell me like, oh, this is how you're gonna use like the clone tool or like this. Like, I don't need a whole day to learn that. Like, I just need to know what I need to know so I can do whatever I want to do.
Some of your tees have been even featured on No Jumper, so.
At a sold out show in LA, at a sold out show in El Salvador, like, I'm like, bro, like, that's insane, bro.
All right, guys, welcome back. Passionate Profit Podcast. We have our longtime friend, special guest, first guest, Neery.
Hell yeah.
So brand owner of Sacred.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going?
It's going good. How about you guys? How you guys been?
Chilling,
bro.
just going through life at this point.
Yeah.
Just started this. So it's been fun. It's been, I mean, as you know, and we'll talk about, but just the journey. It's crazy, like setting up a whole production, getting all the pieces going, video editing, gear,
dealing with delays that come up.
Yep, which we did today. But you were able to work with it.
Oh yeah.
So we appreciate you coming on. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
Of course.
All right. Well, should we just jump straight into it?
Yeah. Go for it.
All right. Well, Neery, can you tell us a little bit about yourself for the people at home who don't know you, and then if you would like to introduce your brand as well?
Yeah. I'm Neery. I've been making clothing since, like 2016. That's when I had my first brand. And man, I remember Michael, like me and him were like
day one supporter.
Yeah, we were saying like earlier, like me and him were like saving up pennies to buy Supreme, like the New York box logo when that dropped. Like we were hyped to get that. Like we were just like early into like, streetwear and like clothing. And for me, that just like evolved into me like creating a brand. And I didn't really know what I was doing, it was kind of like no one was really there to like tell me like do this, do that, like this is how you're gonna start it, whatever. But yeah, I've just always been into clothing. And fast forward to now where I'm like more mature and I ended up rebranding. And just me as a person, like my end goal and my end vision, that's kind of like the reason for the rebrand. And I mean, now it's kind of just flowing as it should, just working on developing it further, improving content, improving, any aspect that I can.
Was the rebrand hard, or like when you decided to do the rebrand, what was the initial thought there for that?
My initial thought was like, people are going to be like, why is he changing the name? Why is he... But it was something that I knew was necessary because, like I said, like it was me maturing as a person and me like really thinking about like what's the end goal in this, like what do I want to build out, what's my whole purpose, like you have to ask yourself like these questions and like and as I sat there and like thought like, okay, like what things do I want to do with my brand, like some brands exist just to release clothing. Just
exactly.
Some brands are doing things in the community. Some brands are, more into like streetwear. Some are like gym clothing. It's like, there's these different categories for clothing brands. And when I rebranded to Sacred, it's like I can do really anything.
Okay.
Because like the brand name itself has like a meaning, like that word itself has a meaning without me using it as like a brand name. So,
okay.
Yeah, as far as my initial thoughts, I always was like, dang, people are going to like wonder why I rebranded. But I always knew that with time, people were going to realize like, now it makes sense,
Do you feel like it was like the right time? Like you weren't...
Oh yeah, definitely. Because if I would have waited and if I would have kept going with my other brand, I would have just wasted time.
Okay.
Yeah,
I feel that. I mean, we've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
So we saw the last brand and then we saw the rebrand.
Yeah.
And clearly it's going.
Yeah.
You're moving.
Yeah.
Picking up momentum and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing, honestly.
Yeah, definitely well said. Going into the brand and the ideas of the brand, what can you say have been some of your like biggest inspirations to take on a clothing brand or start a clothing brand?
I mean, other clothing brands that I see that have just like started up and just done their thing. But as far as inspiring me to like continue clothing, I don't know. I feel like whenever I think about like ideas and then I bring them to life and then I look at that, the end product, I'm like, dang, like I could, I really feel like this is like me. I love this. Like the feeling of that, of creating a product and then seeing it in front of you is like crazy. Still crazy to me.
Definitely well said. I know that you started graphic design in high school.
Yeah.
And then continued on with it in college, and then you eventually branched off into marketing. How can you say that that's helped you so far as to like take off, essentially, you know?
Honestly, if I'm gonna keep it real, like the marketing is what changed everything for me.
Was that solo?
Yeah. So I mean,
first, at least
I'll start off like, yeah. I mean, when I was in college and I was in marketing, they were teaching me things that I was like, I'm never gonna use this. Like, why am I learning about marketing in like a newspaper or like, you know, I'm just like, I'm never gonna put my brand in a newspaper. Like, I'm never gonna go do that myself. Like, if I'm featured in a newspaper, then I get it. But like, what ended up changing everything for me was like learning marketing and like how brands market themselves. And like these, because there's, you know, there's different forms of marketing. There's like influencer marketing, there's advertising, there's placing your product in stores, et cetera, et cetera. But I feel like for each brand, like there's no set way to say like this is going to work for your brand. It's like, try it out. If it doesn't work, then try something else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to get into retail at some point? Is that in a vision?
I mean, I know I could reach out to stores and be like, hey, like, let's figure something out. But for now, my vision and my goal is to just keep developing the brand on the creative side and like more cut and sew pieces. So my vision right now isn't like get into as many stores as I possibly can, even though it might be a good way at the moment for me to do it.
Yeah.
But the way that it's going right now, I feel like keeping my stuff online is fine for now. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Maybe in a week and 2 weeks, I might be like, hey, I'm going to try to get in a store.
Yeah.
I feel that for sure. As far as the rebrand, when you first made the initial like thought, like, did you have to think about it for a while? Was it something that like weighed on you and you're like, oh crap, like were you nervous for it, or were you just like,
definitely, yeah. It was nerve-wracking,
but it was a good time.
It was a good time, and I remember I designed that full collection myself, and I'm like, I need to make some really good pieces so people know like that I'm serious about like the whole rebrand. And
sorry to cut you off. All your designs now, is that a lot of from your head, from your vision?
Well, okay, so as far as designing, so designing before, that was all me. And now I have a designer that I work with directly. So I'm more so curating. I still do design, like that dog shirt that you have on. I designed that. But as far as like all my designs, it's myself and my designer. So he's good with things like custom texts, texturizing like the images, and like sourcing a lot of like references. I mean, for the most part, I'm also sourcing references and like pitching ideas and like, hey, we should do this. This is how we should position it. But having a designer on board who understands, more importantly, was like a key part of me developing these new graphics.
On this journey so far, because like, I mean, you hang out with us. We've done a few things together, gone a few places.
Yeah.
You like keep your head down. You grind. Like, from me noticing you, has that been something that you've like tried to implement with like just you personally and on this journey of the brand? Like, head down, grind, keep going, focus up.
Yeah, because I feel like when I start to talk about like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that, it's like, okay, well then do it. So now my mentality is just like, I'm just gonna do it and people are just gonna watch. Like, either you're gonna like it or you're not. Like,
because like I've always noticed you, or like paid attention to, as in like you like straight grind.
Yeah.
Like you like straight grind. Like even the times where like, hey, let's go have a beer, let's do this. Like you'll come out sometimes, but other times, and like I admire it, especially like on this journey now of trying to develop something or a brand or a name. I admire, because like you've just stayed focused. Yeah. Is that something that like, do you think that has played into where you're at now by staying locked in?
No, definitely. I feel like before I wasn't as focused, and I was more like, oh, like this is like my brand, and it's like, I just do it like for fun, or I just like, I don't know. I feel like also I wasn't thinking like long term. I didn't have like an end goal.
Okay.
But just things just kept developing. Like that's just how it ended up going. Like where I felt myself, like I had to really sit down and say like, okay, like what do I want to do? What is that going to take?
Yeah.
And right now, in my eyes, what it's going to take is a lot of work and a lot of like me figuring out exactly the exact direction that I want to take the brand in. So that takes a lot of me like alone figuring out like, hey, like how am I going to do this, that. So
in the future for the path of the brand.
So and that's why I'm not out and about all the time.
Yeah,
like
100%.
That's why I'm not like, whatever.
Exactly. No, I respect it. Like I said, I admire that. And it's something like I've paid attention to.
Yeah.
I admire it because I know I haven't gotten there yet, honestly. Because we talked about it too. Like sometimes you just got to put your head down and just go.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And like a lot of people are like, where are you at?
Mm-hmm.
Like come out, come do this. Let's go eat. But like you've stayed focused. As far as like your path, do you have, I mean, you must have like a vision, where you want it to go. Do you mind sharing some of that with us?
I mean, yeah, there's always like a set vision, I feel like for everything, but you just don't know how it's going to go.
Okay,
like
I got you.
For example, like if you were to ask me, if you would have asked me this like 6 to 8 months ago, I would have been like, I'm just going to keep dropping like new pieces and just advertise, run my marketing. But now, like, I literally, like, things have changed in the fact that, like, I brought on my friend Edgar. His name is Maximo on Instagram, if you guys haven't seen his page. But I brought him on board, and we've just been, like, working really well with each other. Yeah. And, I mean, he was just helping me out with, like, outreach and placements, and that kind of just changed everything and the way that I saw the brand. So that's why I'm like kind of referring to like me 8 months ago, completely different vision. Me now, completely different vision, because like these things have happened that I didn't plan for, but they just ended up happening, and that's just kind of how it went. So, I mean, as far as like right now, if I can say like in a year from now, maybe warehouse, like
okay.
Like I want to eventually bring not all of it, but most of the like printing and like design like in-house.
In-house.
Yeah.
All in one set spot.
Yeah, because I mean, my screen printer is quick, he's good, but it takes time. Like, like the thing that's taking the longest right now is fulfillment. And like people want their stuff like now.
ASAP.
And the quicker that you ship, the quicker it's, people love it. You can keep pushing out new product. And if you're in control of that, then you're kind of, you've got it down.
Okay. Nice. On your journey so far, have you had any like inspirations, any people that have motivated you or been like, damn, I like Virgil, like the way he started, or Zach FDP, Sponso, any of those guys motivated you or inspired you to continue on?
Yeah. Zach FDP. I remember watching his No Jumper interview. Mm-hmm. Like I was in class, like a senior in high school, like watching that interview, and I'm like, dude, this guy's like crazy.
Yeah.
Like, people like him, like Angelo Back, like brands like Awake, just any brand that's really killing it. Like I just look at it, I'm just like, it might seem like it's really far away, but in reality, like it's just staying.
Well, I mean,
working,
your shirts, specifically these ones, they're popping off.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's all like for me. It was for a while. It was like I'm gonna create as many graphics as I can and like as best as I can. And like once I brought on my designer, then I was really like, okay, hey, like I want to develop this. Like, can you help me bring this to life? Can you, if I give you inspo, can you like create something? And like once we created that in living memory template, I knew like that first Nate Dogg shirt. I'm like, dude, like this is crazy. I just looked at it and I'm like, dude, like not even because it's my work, but it's because like I knew that there was something there, And once I dropped like the Chalino stuff and it went crazy, and that's like I met Edgar, like my friend Maximo, off of that drop. Like that shirt alone just went crazy. Mm-hmm. And
is it your best performing so far?
Yeah, I would say
at least in memory. Or
the in living memory stuff is good, but it's not what I want to base my brand around.
Okay.
And I mean, some brands will like find something that hits and just stick to it. Just run that. But it only lasts for so long. And like people, that's the only thing that people are going to start to want from your brand. So it's like, what are you really building at that point, you know? So for me, it's like, sorry, go ahead.
So you don't want to get stuck with the in-memory brand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I have like this next collection, there's like 2 or 3 in there, but it's like a whole new template that we developed. It's we like, I'm not going to stay with that template. Like I've already moved on. I've already created another one.
Okay.
So we have a date? Is there a date for the collection?
Say like the next 2 weeks or something.
Okay.
End
of November, early December?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just a lot of like I said, not dropping all of those at once, and like having the graphic side and the in living memory and like the hats, and like just making sure that it's like a well-rounded collection and not just like in living memory stuff that I'm pushing out.
I feel that. I feel like you've picked up I feel like you're on momentum right now. You're going. Yeah. At least, again, just watching you for the last, I'll say 6 months, 3 months. Like it seems like you're pushing.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way?
I mean, I feel like I like wake up going to the gym.
New stuff.
Yeah, and like
that's
go
sick.
home and just work and work and work.
That's sick. Nice.
Or like, yeah. I mean, and I just literally just remembered that I resigned from my job, and like this week was literally my last week. It's nerve-wracking, I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, when I look at my brand and what I can do, and if I had more time to, you know, post everything and like put things on the site and do all the things that I have in mind, like my job was like holding me back, and I didn't even like being there. Like it was a marketing job, but it wasn't marketing what I wanted. It was just to like, I'm gonna take this job because it's like
it's there and it's steady,
it gets pay. Money. It's like you know, it's gonna pay my bills. It's gonna X, Y, and Z.
I mean, for real, like congratulations. That's like a big step.
Yeah.
When you're in the entrepreneur space and you're able to finally leave a 9-to-5 or the job that was giving you your every week or bi-weekly check, it probably like it feels good.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not to say that I'm not open to taking on like another role.
Exactly.
But it would have to make sense, and it would have to be like in the industry that I want.
Exactly.
Like even right now, I'm like, dude, I want to design for like Karin, who's been wearing like our stuff. I want to design for like whoever else. I mean, there's just like a list of people that I know that I'm just like, I just got to reach out, and I just built my portfolio, and all these things are in motion that I'm just like, I don't know, something could pop off in like the next month. I don't know.
I think that's the crazy part too in the space is like, it changes.
Yeah.
It's constantly changing. And 1 minute you may seem here, you may even seem like, damn, I'm stuck right here. Yeah. But all it takes is someone to view that reel, someone to view that piece of content, someone to get told about this, about you. And then it just seems like it's boom, it just changed.
Yeah. So going into changing, Neery, I know we already covered that back in high school, me and you were really into streetwear, you know, buying Supreme, FTP, you know, all the drops and stuff, the Jordan drops. How do you feel that streetwear's changed from when we were in high school to it is now? If at all, in your opinion, has it changed?
Yeah, no, definitely. It definitely has changed. I mean, and I'm sure you've seen it too. Yeah. Like, I feel like Supreme was on top, and like, it wasn't too many people that really knew about it. I remember I was like buying it, and I remember I had someone like, dude, like, why are you so into Supreme? And like, I'm sure right now they probably own pieces. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, I was into it because I knew what it was, and I knew what it was gonna turn into.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't know. I just watched this like beast develop in front of our eyes.
No, yeah, definitely. Speaking on that is, I remember you introduced me to FTP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's crazy.
And you were like, bro, like follow this brand, like it's gonna take off.
Yeah, dude.
And I was like, all right, crazy, like I just kind of listened, you know. And now seeing it, dude, like from where it was when we were in high school to now,
insane.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like with any brand that does that, there comes like a wave of brands that are heavily inspired by that. Yeah. Like right now, Hellstar is really big, and you see all these brands like doing similar styles to Hellstar. So yeah, I mean that's how I feel. Like whenever there's something like that, something really big that comes in, like a Hellstar or like an FTP, like there's brands and there's like a wave of that style that comes into play.
Yeah.
Crazy. As far as, have you ever felt like, damn, I should wrap it up? Like, have you ever, at any point in this journey, were you ever just like, damn, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I'm losing a little bit of faith in this? Like, at any point, even early on?
No, yeah. Because you got to think about like how much time this takes and how much, like, not only time to create, but if you're doing it alone, like I am, or like I was, it's like I got to design everything. I got to put everything on the website. I have to fulfill everything. I have to do my own Instagram post, XYZ. And then there's like another route where it's like, or I could go work like a corporate marketing job and have to just work 9 to 5. After that, I don't worry about a thing.
Yeah.
I go home, relax, watch TV, do whatever, and have my weekends off and just chill.
Did a little bit of that come prior to the rebrand, or like ever, like after you rebranded, did that ever hit where you were just like,
I mean, yeah, even after the rebrand, I feel like there were moments where, or like months where I wasn't really dropping. I just hit like, just a fork in the road. I was just like not releasing. And I was really trying to figure out like, what do I want to do? Like, but yeah, I just kept it pushing. Like sometimes I wonder where I would be if I would have just said like, I'm done with clothing.
yeah, somewhere inside the space, you think?
Maybe
Marketing or designing?
Yeah, something with marketing for sure.
Do you feel that school helped you? Like, did you take anything from school, like for your graphic designing or marketing? Did any of that help elevate you or teach you anything that you still use today currently?
I'm trying to think.
And I'm not knocking on school. But.
No, because I haven't. I'm trying to think about anyone that I've met, even in like college or anything that I still stay in touch with, and yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I didn't really like even graphic design. I stopped going for graphic design because it was so slow. Like I was learning like one thing a day, and I'm like, dude, I could just sit down and learn this. Like learn this myself. Like why? I don't need someone to tell me like, oh, this is how you're gonna use like the clone tool or like this. Like I don't need a whole day to learn that. Yeah. Like I just need to know like what I need to know, and then so I can do whatever I want to do. It's like whatever I need to use it for.
I feel that.
Okay. Going into that, actually, what do you think has been the hardest thing to figure out, on your journey so far? Do you think it was like learning graphic design on your own, branding, marketing, working with manufacturers? Like,
I think each of those aspects has had its own, like I've had to jump through hoops for each of those things. Mm-hmm. As far as like the hardest, I think manufacturing is always like a thing where it's like you're like gambling with if it's gonna come out good or not. So that's why like I sample, and like if the sample's good, then I'll like refine that sample and like, hey, like if there's anything to change, then change this, change that, and then we do like the full like bulk inventory. Mm-hmm. Maybe manufacturing has been the hardest thing, like just sourcing manufacturing. Sometimes manufacturers are like not as good as you think, but I feel like now the way that I look for them and the way that I decide on who I work with is like the right way.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Have you had anyone, is there anyone that like, I guess you started by yourself.
Yeah.
But has there been anyone else that like you've kind of leaned on throughout the process of developing Sacred that is still with you today?
Probably my friend Robert, who owns Palisade. Me and him were kind of just figuring it out together. At one point we were like, yo, like you have a spot for like screen printing or like spot for like this. So we were just like helping each other out. And actually he's the one who introduced me to my screen printer right now. Okay. So if it wasn't for him, I don't even know how I would have scaled my brand, because like when you scale with advertising, like you're paying, like you're putting money into this, like this machine that you're just, if sales come in, then you keep doing it. So when it comes time to like all those orders to get printed, like you need like a reliable and trustworthy screen printer.
Yeah.
And thankfully, like he introduced me to him, and he's just been solid. So he's printing everything right now.
So as far as the store, for people that don't know, go check out the store. But as far as the store, everything that's on there, like you have that stuff now, or does it kind of just print as people order?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends. Like there's certain items that I'll order ahead of time and I'll have them in hand, and then I'll, if they sell really well, then I'll put them into the pre-order. So once the inventory is gone, then you can buy it. But after that, it's gonna take like 2-3 weeks to get to you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It just depends on the product. Like sometimes I'll run with a pre-order style on X amount of products, and if it just depends how they perform.
Yeah. As far as warehouse, what's your ideal spot? Like, where would you love to?
Closer to LA for sure, because I feel like I'm out there a lot. I mean, my homie Edgar lives out there. Like a lot of my friends live out there. I like a lot of resources are out there.
It's just easier overall.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice out here. I love Santa Barbara. I love Carpinteria. But
it's just there's no room. For
a
warehouse of that size or caliber,
and the price. I was about to say that too, but it makes sense. It makes sense.
Ever out of state? Have you ever?
I've thought about that too. I mean, that's a possibility.
I feel like that.
Like I said, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm so open to anything, and I'm such a down person that it's not. I wouldn't doubt it.
No, I feel that for sure. As far as, I mean, yeah, it's just. Well, actually, I got to start real quick.
Yeah.
So when I got shot,
crazy. Bro.
We were here. We went out. Fern was like, "Can I borrow a shirt?" And I'm like, "All right, sure." So I gave him the shirt, the gun logo.
Yeah.
And on the shirt, there's the bullet holes.
Yeah.
In the back.
Yeah.
And he was wearing the shirt. Everything happened. Long story short, I'm finally in the ER, and I'm like laying there, and the cops come in, and they're like, I just remember I'm just like out of it, like a lot of drugs at this point they've pumped me with, and they just like stand over the side of me on the side, and they hold it up. And the cop holds it up like this, quote. And the other cop is like, "Is this your shirt?" And I'm just like, "Yes, but I wasn't wearing it." And I just like laid back down. And my mom's on the other side of me, and I just like looked at her. I'm just like, "What? Why? What's going down right now?" And it was just funny. Like obviously it's not funny. It's like it's a serious thing, but like it chuckled in my head because of the gun logo, because of the bullets on the back, because quote. Of the quote. So he just held it up, and then he's like, we're keeping this for evidence." And I was like, but they were actually confused. They were like, "What do you mean you weren't wearing it?" Like he was like, I was like, "Yes, that's my shirt, but I wasn't wearing it." Yeah. Because I wasn't. Yeah. I gave it to Fern. They were just kind of confused, like this guy's crazy or something. Yeah. But I was like, "Yeah, that's my shirt. I wasn't wearing it."
Wait, how did they have it?
I don't know. Oh, I think Fern took it off.
Oh, okay.
To give me some pressure. Yeah. But then I also thought, I was like, damn, I want that shirt back. But imagine, like, I mean, it's not sick if it was like, but if I was wearing that shirt and there was a hole in it and it has leather holes in the
crazy,
back. Yeah. But, I mean, it's not funny, guys, but it gives me the little chuckle because I know, and I love that. Yeah. That shirt and that design specifically is my personal favorite. But I've been thinking about that, and I've been waiting for this to share that with you, because I was just like,
we're taking it for evidence.
Just ironically, that shirt that happened, because the actual shirt I was wearing, I don't know where that shirt's at. Like, I don't know if they found that shirt. Like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. They didn't ask me about that shirt, but they were like, "This one looks good." Well,
I mean, why would they why would they ask you about the one you were wearing? It was a McGregor shirt. Do you not remember that? Or
no. Yeah. I knew it was a McGregor shirt, but I was like, I guess maybe they're just like, "Oh, that's a sick shirt." Okay, or ironically, I don't know what they were thinking, but they definitely asked if it was mine. I definitely said yes. Mm-hmm. I just happened not to be wearing that shirt, but it just made me think of you. I was like, I'm dead. That's hilarious. That's crazy.
Yeah, bro. But on the brand, I know you've been working with you've done work with Westside Gun, Griselda Records, Isaac Paleo, et cetera, et cetera. How does that feel like doing work with people like that, of that caliber, and seeing your designs and your brand on and collaborating with people like that?
Well, I've worked with Isaac, Westside, Griselda. I've done like a lot of content for them. Oh, okay. But that, honestly, like being around Westside and Isaac and anyone else in Griselda kind of just changed my view on clothing. Mm-hmm. And it made me put like the artwork and like the design in front of everything else, because they're very art focused and very like art always comes first, you know, for both of them. Yeah. And that made me like look at my work a lot different, where it's like I need to put out the best designs that I can and the best presentation that I can. But I mean, it's been great. Like Isaac's literally like my brother. That's my good friend. We've been friends for a while.
That's awesome.
Griselda is just great people. Like D-Jack, who is part of Griselda, is like my brother as well. Just being around those people, and you know, all of them have just, like I said, have changed my view on clothing and like what I'm putting out. So,
and that's probably like that's such a benefit to have like artists or someone like Isaac, who's a legit artist, give you tips or just it's attention to detail.
Yeah,
and it's something that other brands or other people might not have access to or might not think about. And that's probably definitely enhances that and makes you focus like, oh yeah, okay, we got to get this right.
No, definitely. I mean, they're very specific people, especially, I mean, Isaac with his art, Westside with his clothing. They're very specific, and that's how I feel like I'm slowly developing myself to be like, when I work with my designer, I'm sure he gets frustrated sometimes where it's like, I need this to look like this. And he might not get it right the first time, but I'm like, bro, like we need to revise this part in specific because I know what's gonna hit, you know. And even that template, when that first template, like the very first design that that he sent me over, I'm like, bro, no, like let's revise it and let's make it look like this. And then when he showed me that,
right here,
I'm like, bro, like it's up, bro. Like, let's do it. Like, let's run it.
What? Oh, you said it was Nate Dogg. The first one.
The first one was Nate Dogg. I didn't want to start with like Tupac or like anyone big. Like I wanted to do like a low key, like, I mean, he's not low key like around here, but like someone that isn't as big, but like if you know type artist. And that was like Nate Dogg for me, like king of hooks, like crazy, you know.
Is there anyone else that you want to collab with? Because the Paleo one.
As far as like clothing,
yes. Yeah. At least right now in your vision, again, if things come up, they come up. Is there anyone else or that you mind sharing if you do have someone?
I'm trying to think. Maybe my friend Alex, he owns Vlexen.
Okay.
He's doing his thing. He has his own style too. I'd just be curious to like when I think about collabing, it's like it has to make sense, you know. I would just be curious to like see what we would come up with, you know. And I feel like that's what I would want to, because I'm like, you know, I wonder what would come out of that, because his style is a bit different than mine, but that's always like cool because, you know, when those two things come together, you don't know what you're gonna create. So
just anything. I mean, the player one was hard.
I mean,
you could tell definitely it's Isaac, but
the template is
here.
Me. Yeah,
so
yeah.
like that. I mean, that collab was dope.
Yeah,
yeah, I like that one a lot. So. So yeah, I mean, it's been a journey for you for sure.
Yeah.
5 years. Well, I guess you kind of said like you don't know, things will just change. But
yeah, no. And
there like, do you have like a vision board? Like, is there any point where you're like, damn, this is like my absolute end goal? Or is there anything that you think about that you're like, damn, if I get there, I feel good? In terms of streetwear.
Like level, in
terms of your brand, level or sure, yeah.
Man, if I like doing collabs with like, I know like Menace did a collab with like Galaxy, things like that are like crazy to me. Like, dude, like that's like a milestone. Like once I hit milestones like that, I'll feel like, dude, like my brand is crazy. Like, I mean, I don't need those things to validate me, but like things like that will. Like those are the type of things that like my kids are gonna grow up like like reading about or like finding out about, and they're like, damn, like that's crazy. What's
the next milestone? What, if you don't mind sharing, like do you have another milestone that you like have sight on, whether it's volume or production?
I think getting my stuff on certain individuals like is crazy. I mean, Karin placement is insane. Like my parents listen to him, like Frontera. They're all cool. Just I don't know. Placements are always cool. I'm not fully dependent on placements. Like for me, like building out the community as a brand, and that's kind of also what I'm working on is like building that community aspect of the brand. Because some brands, they might have like 20, 25K whatever followers, but they don't really have a community around them. Like they can't really like do a pop-up. They can't do XYZ because they don't really have like that core following. So that's what I'm working on developing as well.
I feel like, I mean, would you say you have somewhat of a community? I feel like you do.
No, yeah, I definitely do.
I feel like there's...
And I feel like I was somewhat lacking in giving that said community like the required attention.
Okay.
Because I was so busy working and like, having... I mean, it's necessary. Like sometimes it's necessary to have a job and do these things. And like, I'm not like... But now that I have this community building up, I know like there's things that I'm working on and setting into place where that said community is really gonna feel like, oh, like he's paying attention to us. Like, I'm doing a lot of back end things on my website and things like that. I'm not gonna like fully speak on it, but just cool things like for people that have bought before, things like that. So
okay,
just building out the community.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Real. What about what's like? I mean, you just resigned.
Yeah.
You have momentum, in my opinion. What's something for like other brands, for other individuals? Like if you could give someone out there, like, hey, I'm just starting, like, what would you tell them? Is there anything like that you lacked, or you were like, damn, I wish I knew that, or I wish someone told me this?
I would say, like, first set like your blueprint and set up like, find like the system that works for you. Like, find like a good screen printer. Find like if you don't know graphic design as well, or like maybe you do but you need like for me, like my designer kind of just like enhanced everything, all of my designs. Like whatever it is that you feel like you lack, find some way to like fix that, or like I'm saying, find that system that works with you. Like find a good screen printer, find a good whatever manufacturers, like find all these things before you like just dive in.
Okay. And
like have things set up.
Do you feel like you kind of dived? You were just
no,
like, I have this idea and I'm going.
Well, because I just figured it out. I just figured it out as I went. Like no one really, like I said, like right now there's a lot of Instagram pages that are like cool manufacturer for like for this and this and this. Mm-hmm. Like they're giving you all these resources, but that wasn't around when you started. Yeah, that wasn't around for sure. Like
I feel like that's another like admirable thing I try and like tell people, like with this podcast, it was just we're going.
Yeah.
Sometimes like that's it's how like it
needs to come together.
Damn. Again, I wish I did what you did. Blueprint, thought, videographer, editor, equipment.
Yeah.
But I kind of, and I spoke about it on the first one, I was just like, bye. I'm going to make a podcast.
Yeah.
You want to hop on it? And then no editor.
And then you start, And
then
you
it was just
start putting it together and you're like, I need this.
Yes. Same with the other project I'm working on. Is just so many things. I think it's awesome. Like I would recommend like just, hey, people just start. Just find something, start. Obviously the advice you gave, like, hey, if you can figure out the blueprint, get everything else down and situated, that's always going to be preferred, and that should be kind of the way you try and do it. If not, you're just alleviating a headache.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm still figuring some things out. There's still things that come up. There's like my brand, like people might think that I'm doing like, that I'm just like balling, but it's like, dude, like I'm working so much on so many things that it takes money. Like
it's reinvesting back.
Yeah, it's reinvesting. Sometimes like people make a lot of money off one product and they get comfortable. And like with a brand, I feel like especially now, you need to like progress with your design, and like even like that's why I'm like progressing with like the in living memory template. Like you need to like progress your graphics and like progress like your pieces. Like one piece can do crazy, but if you stick with that, like I'm saying before, people are just gonna want that, or you're just gonna burn yourself out.
Yeah, we actually had this conversation before, and I remember you telling me that you don't want to get known for one piece. Essentially.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the whole point of like all these different, like, look, like we're all wearing 3 sacred tees, but like they're all so different that like we don't look like clones.
Well, the hardest pick is the one in Texas.
Yeah.
Can we add that maybe? Woo. That was hard because we were all.
Yeah, it was.
I think we all had different.
It was like
on.
6-7 of us with wearing sacred, and it was like they're all different.
Yeah,
they're all literally
it wasn't.
different.
I mean, it wasn't planned. It's not like we were near. It was like everyone wear it now. It was just that's what we all put on.
And I mean,
and as we walked out, we're just like, oh, all right,
we're all wearing
sacred, but
you couldn't tell. You couldn't tell.
Different color designs or different colorways, different designs. It was just different.
Yeah,
it was just different, which is, again, I mean, it's sick. As far as like sacred, what does it mean to you? Like you rebranded.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you?
I mean, for me, like the word itself obviously has a meaning, like holy, and like if you're religious, it also has a meaning. But I mean, just it means like special. It means holy. It means for me, it's like life is sacred. Like everything you do is sacred. Every step you take, whether you feel like it's right or wrong, it's sacred. Like there's a meaning behind everything that happens to you. Every trial, every mistake you think you might have taken, like it was all meant for something. Like that mistake that that you might regret led to the next thing.
I think that is that's
it's
like
just life.
Some of the most
it's
powerful
just life. Yeah.
Behind that, I like. I mean, I've never asked you.
Yeah.
But I kind of always thought like that's hard.
And this is just a reflection of everything that I've seen and everything that has inspired me, and I just put it on on clothing.
Yeah. That's what you want the brand to be known.
Yeah, just to inspire, to just create good clothing, to, like I said, the word obviously has a meaning. Like I can further develop that. So
exactly. Come up with different designs and stuff. New collection, 2 weeks, so that'll be sick.
Yeah.
You know anything?
Yeah, I know that you said you already had Karina wear your tees, and then Grupo Frontera was wearing a Jeep Perico.
Yeah, Jeep Perico.
Like, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel when you see that? Like, people of their caliber, like, bro, damn, that's lit. Like,
you know what's crazy?
Because I sit at home when I see it and like, you post it, and I'm like, fucking Neery, that motherfucker's doing his thing. I'm like, that fool's doing his thing right there.
Because, dude, I'm like, you gotta think about, bro. We're from a city with like 10,000 people, bro. Yeah. Like, you gotta think about, like, I'm at home in Carpinteria, city of 10,000 people, and there's Karin Leon wearing my stuff at a sold out show in LA. He's wearing it at a sold out show in El Salvador. Like, I'm like, bro, like, that's insane, bro.
And then especially, I mean, we're on a podcast right now, but some of your tees have been even featured on No Jumper. So
a sacred shirt. I really fuck with the shirt. A lot of people have been giving me compliments on the shirt today.
The shirt is cool. Yeah, I do like the shirt.
Thank you. Shout out to Sacred.
Yeah,
I was like, damn.
Yuri wearing it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The way that I feel, I'm like, it gives me, it's not that I need it for validation, but it just lets me know, like, okay, like,
you're doing
my design,
something right.
Yeah, I'm doing something right. And I mean, like I said, it's all about just furthering the whole design process, and like figuring out like what else you can bring to the table, because like I mean, one look isn't gonna make it for you. Like, you have to stay consistent with it.
Exactly.
I mean, I think you brought up a great point. Like, people do want to know that, like, how, like, I know it makes you feel good, and I think that's sick that you bring up, like, we talked about it on the first one. We are from like a smaller town.
Yeah,
seems a little stagnant. I think you were one of, if not the first person I noticed to branch out, to take something and run with it, despite what probably everyone said. Because I know that no matter how many supporters you have now, you didn't have them in the beginning.
Yeah.
So maybe everyone from the city might support you now, but if we're being honest, we know it wasn't there from the beginning, because it's that new thing, and we talked about it. What's this guy doing? What is he gonna do with this? Someone just tell him to just go work somewhere.
I feel like people are just like, anything that you try and do out of the ordinary, someone's always gonna have something to say, and until it pops off for you, then it's gonna be like, oh, that dude's like just.
But you've just stayed down.
Yeah,
you just did your thing, and like you said earlier, you just did it, and no matter what they say, you're just gonna keep doing you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, dude, that's just how it is. Like, you just gotta accept it. Like, people aren't gonna want to tune into you until you're really doing it.
Until
you know, and that's
just what it is, bro.
That's something I told Alfredo is people are always gonna have something to say,
dude,
regardless. And you know, starting the pod, obviously, you know, we were like, fuck, what if people talk shit? What if like we get hate,
bro?
And I told Fredo, I was like, dude, regardless, they're still viewing it.
Yeah,
like,
bro. It might be, you know? Like your closest friend. It might be like your closest friends, like being like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, you know, but man, just
regardless,
do whatever you feel is right, bro.
Yeah.
I'm so big on that now. Like, whatever you feel is right, bro, just do it.
Well, we definitely appreciate you. I mean, you're our first one, so showing us love and coming on here. And I know, have you done a pod before?
I did like an interview type of thing, but and I even think it came out, but it didn't really, that said, like podcast didn't really continue to put things out.
Well, I hope there's 1,000 more waiting for you somewhere, honestly.
Cool.
You know, and something I do want to say is I told Fredo, I was like, when we were talking guests, I was like, I want Neery to be the first one.
Yeah.
And mainly because you, in my eyes, are passions to profits. You're turning something that's passionate to you, streetwear and brands, you know, and not necessarily like monetizing off of it to make a profit, like money wise, but it's like, it brings you happiness. It brings you joy. And you're just kind of like running with something that you hold dear to you, you know?
Yeah. And I've always thought like to myself, like, I don't need to make millions off of clothing. Like if I can live comfortably and run my brand and like I'll be happy. Like I don't need to be making like Hellstar money. Like they're making like millions a drop.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. That's inspiring, but like I don't necessarily strive for that, you know.
And that's awesome. That's why I love your brand, and that's why I'll continue to support you, you know. So
Day one supporter,
Hell yeah.
Him and Randy. He was telling me, he's like, I think you still have this.
Yeah, I still have
the first one. That's crazy.
still have the first tee this man ever screen printed in my closet. Yeah,
it's crazy.
We're gonna one day in like a glass case. You just gotta sign it. And, yeah, man. That's I mean, you're doing it. I think you, like you said, you literally fit our thing. We were talking about like coming from a small town. It's not that it's not accepted. It's just not normal. It's not normal. And some people, I mean, even me, like sometimes when stuff's not normal, you just kind of like, oh, that's different. But you definitely didn't let it affect you at all. And I think that's beyond amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
to see where you're at now.
Yeah.
What did your parents like? Did they ever have anything to say? Were they always like behind you, supporting?
Yeah, no, they're really supportive. I mean, and right now, like obviously, I'm bringing in like a ton of boxes into the house. And they're like, it's crazy. And I'm showing them like Garin, Frontera, whoever else wearing it, and they're like, it's crazy, you know. But I mean, I always like think to myself like, it's just the beginning. Like I feel like I'm just getting started, really.
Every day, every day probably feels
like it's crazy too, because sometimes I'll like, I'll drop a collection and I'm like, dude, like this is like really cool stuff. Like, how am I gonna outdo this? And then I end up the next collection just being crazy and just like, I feel like right now is like the progression of the graphics is what I'm really focused on. So like these next few items are just gonna be like the best that I've done so far.
Do you have any pants?
Jeans?
Or
working on jeans, working on just things like that, because I feel like t-shirts are like everywhere. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I just did that puffer.
Yeah, the puffer's dope. Yeah.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah. So more cut and sew, more custom. Just, I mean, I'm going on to oversized screen printing. So like bigger screen print, just fill up the whole shirt.
Just don't do what Essential does.
What?
Do you wear Essentials at all?
No. What do they do?
Bro, guys, I'm an XL. At least comfortably, right? Like I'm an XL. I still wear you Essentials, but geez, dude, what did you buy? A small?
I bought a small.
We're both XLs. Yeah. A small fits him kind of big. In Essentials.
Not even kind of big,
no,
bro.
I'm talking about...
It's a boxy, oversized fit, and it's a small.
Like, I'm talking about like the screen print, not the shirt. The shirts are gonna stay the same, but the screen print's gonna get bigger.
Oh shit! I thought you were saying oversized.
Big. Yeah, we're just printing bigger.
Oh, I thought we were talking about like the actual.
No,
like the fit. You're talking
the
about
actual fit.
The fit. No, I'm staying with the fit. Like
essentially, when you mean
Apparel has it nailed. I like their sizing.
When you mean oversized, like graphic, you're talking about like your newest Chalino shirt, right? Yeah, that fills up the entire shirt with the graphic. Or
honestly, so I was limited to like 14 and a half by like 18.
Okay.
Like 14.5 wide, 18 height. And that is like, that's like a good size on like me or like someone with a large. But when you get to like 2XL and like 3XL, that looks like a tiny print.
Really?
That looks tiny, yeah. Like, I'll show you guys after this, like someone that was wearing it. And he's wearing a 3XL, and I'm like, dude, it looks like a tiny.
And it's
print.
the newest
It's that. No, it's that shirt right there. Yeah, and that looks oversized on you.
Yeah, I mean, it fills up my entire chest, so that's why I'm like.
But once I start printing right now, like I'm gonna upgrade to 18 wide to 22 in height.
Oh shit,
that's huge.
For all shirts.
Yeah, all my shirts are gonna be oversized printed now. So
nice.
It just gives it like a different look. It just makes it look crazy. Like. You can take a graphic that's like this small, and once you make it bigger, it looks crazy. Like if this design was like this small, it wouldn't have the same effect.
Yeah, no.
But when I oversize it, it gives it a totally different look and feel. So
nice. Yeah. Any hats coming in soon?
Yeah, I mean, I just got the restock of this.
Yeah, that one's hard.
I feel like I'm just upgrading things. Like normal hats are cool, but the moment I do this, it's like, dude, like. The material is fire.
Yeah. I mean, people have suede or the corduroy.
Yeah, corduroy.
But I haven't seen a suede.
Do this
hat in a while. At least I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I just haven't worn one. I grabbed that and I felt it, and I was like, like I told you before this, I went to go to the store. They sold quick. When you dropped them. I only
dropped a few, yeah.
And I went back and I was like, that's trash. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are. Don't worry, I'm getting one right after this. But
yeah, just working on different things, like I'm saying. I mean, t-shirts are always gonna be like a staple piece to any brand, but cut and sew is definitely on my mind heavy.
You don't have anything cut and sew?
Like right now?
Yeah.
I mean the puffer jacket, but that's like one thing. Like I'm working on jeans right now. I still have like the gun bag. Like that's a whole cut and sew piece that's like.
Is that in the future?
Everyone
is that pushed
still
back
asks,
a little bit?
Yeah, just because the whole manufacturing process for that, it was like set, and then we had to revise it because of the size. Because I needed to make it bigger. I needed
It didn't fit it.
It fit it, but very tight. But I needed to make it bigger. I needed to move the zipper down. I needed XYZ. Just revisions, and that's why you sample first. But. They were like, oh, we need to make more. You need to produce a lot more than this because the factory doesn't want to make them anymore. And I'm like, bro.
So you need to just up front buy a lot more.
Yeah, they want me to buy like 1,000. I'm like, bro. You know what? I'm not gonna drop like 50, 60 racks on
on just one.
That's
design.
insane.
That is
like,
pretty hard.
That's
to sell 1,000
that's a lot, bro.
Crazy.
I mean, I'm definitely working on making another sample. A revised sample, and then getting a look for that, and then moving forward like that instead of just making a ton of them at first with like no said motion for them. So it's all about doing it the right way, bro. It's like if I do the bags, and let's say they even agree to do less, and it makes sense, I'm gonna spend all my money making those bags, and that's the only thing I can drop. Versus if I use my money for like a couple tees, a couple hats. Then I can drop a full collection and then use that money to make the bags.
Exactly.
So
strategizing.
You gotta strategize, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a numbers guy, and I run my own advertising and I have a mentor and this and that, but like numbers is like my like heart is like not my thing,
Well, that's something. I mean, I'm gonna be getting into soon is like just like ads and figuring out that stuff, and that's just like a whole nother beast.
Yeah,
and without a mentor, and thankfully I do have a team for the other project, and it's just a whole nother beast. Yeah, and I've been just looking at it and peeking at it. My stepdad being a business guy, like he asked me these questions, and I'm like, time out. Let me go take a break, and then I'll be back. But it's crazy. That's a whole nother beast when it comes to business.
Yeah, advertising will like change your business as a whole. Like you don't need advertising, but there's just, like I said, there's multiple marketing strategies. There's the organic side where you have really good content that gets high reach. You have ads, you have influencer placements, whatever works with your brand, like try it.
What have you felt has been the most successful?
Oh, the advertising, bro. Okay. Of course. Like
how long did you run organically for?
For a while, dude, until like like a year and a half ago, and that's when things started going like up because of the advertising, because of like so many new people seeing stuff, you know.
I mean, you're kind of getting influencer placement now.
Yeah, no, yeah, influencer placements is definitely there. Like, no one's tagged me in like a, you know, like shouted me out, things like that. But they've worn it, and people ask like, dude, like, where's that shirt from? I always look at the comments and I see things like that.
Did you, after Karim came out with those shows, did you see a spike at all?
Not really a spike, but I did like 2 or 3 people were like, oh, I saw Karim wearing this shirt, and I was literally looking for it everywhere, but I didn't know what brand it was.
Do they have say? Oh, they don't.
I mean, it has like it has it on the hat, but it's a very it's a very like low key logo. Mm-hmm. It's not like blasted on.
They'll find you. We're gonna go find you.
But I mean, like I said, I'm not dependent on like one look or one person wearing it. It's like it's just gonna keep happening. Like we're just gonna keep pushing out new product. Like Edgar, my homie Maximo, has been like key to this. Like once he, I mean, we haven't even got into that. Like he found me and we just started becoming friends. And he just, dude, out of nowhere, like, yo, call me. I give him a call. He's like, yo, I got this stylist. She styles Yaritza. She styles like these people. You want to give her clothing? Like it's on you. I'm not. He just straight up told me like, bro, I do this.
He told me about this.
He's like, bro, I do this like out of like just being genuine. Like I like your brand. Like you want to give her clothes, you're more than welcome to. And I did, and she got me that placement. Cool. Next thing, like, yo, like I'm trying to give G Perico some stuff. Like, you want to come to the show? I go, give him stuff. He like as I'm leaving, he texts me like, yo, G loves this stuff, bro. Like it's fire. And then I see G wearing it, and then it's like, yo, I got another stylist. Yo, I got another connect. Yo, this. And then Karim wearing it, and I'm like, bro, like, you got to come on board, bro. Like, you're doing too much for me not to be like, yo, like, you know, here's a part, you know? So it's all about finding someone that's, like, genuinely interested, someone that genuinely sees the vision. And, like, if they can play a role within that, then, dude, you know, do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Are you official, like, set up as far as like business LLC?
I'm since I rebranded, I need to refile and get that sorted. Okay. But I mean, even if the word sacred's taken, bro, we're doing Sacred World. We're making it work, bro. No, I'm not changing the name. That name is forever, bro. That name has so much meaning to me that I'm finding a loophole, bro.
Well, you could just, I mean, don't hate me in the comments, but I think you could just DBA or do business as Sacred.
Something, bro.
But yeah. If not, we just go buy it from them or we take them out.
Something like that.
I don't know.
Or send the team or something.
Someone they're gonna get a knock on their door.
Well, we appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, bro.
We appreciate you coming on. We had fun.
Yeah, bro.
Hopefully, you know, everyone watches this. Share it, subscribe, go follow Sacred, Neery, and yeah, we appreciate everything.
Yeah, definitely, man.
We hope to. We'll shout out the collection.
Yeah, thank you guys, bro.
And yeah, I mean, we're excited. I mean, I'm excited. We'll just see what else comes out.
Mm-hmm.
That's.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna definitely tag them in this. You know, have all the ads in there in the comments and stuff. You know, in the description, whatnot.
For the people at home that haven't found your stuff, they're gonna find it now. So yeah, we appreciate it, bro.
Dope. Yeah, thank you guys.